So, welcome everybody to our workshop, mainly by Sui. Big thanks to him. So, I will give. After this workshop, there will be recording, so everybody can see this workshop after this workshop. And so, I give the word to Sui. Let's see how to create your first DeBot.
Thank you very much, Alex. Just to confirm, I hope you can see the screen.
Yes, I see.
Okay, great. Welcome everyone to this workshop. And today we are going to be seeing how to install Tone OS CLI and how to write and deploy first DeBot, basically mostly on Windows operating system. Great. So during this workshop, we will start by looking at general introduction to FreeTone. We'll look at a theoretical explanation on how to install Tone OS CLI. We then will check out the practical demonstration. We look at a theoretical explanation on DeBot, and then we'll look at the practical demonstration too. So what is FreeTone? FreeTone is a high-performance, scalable, and secure blockchain with a throughput of millions of transactions per second. Some people call it a super blockchain because it's a collection of blockchain coupled with the fact that it has very low transaction fees. Part one. The objective of this part is actually to show you how to set up your computer so that you can be able to write, test, and deploy Tone Solidity smart contracts. But before we get started, of course, you need a laptop, and the recommended operating system is the Linux distribution Ubuntu version 18.0. You could equally use Windows or Mac OS. In this workshop, we shall be using Windows. We also need a Solidity to TVM assembly compiler. And we could build from sources, we could download as binary, or we could run from Docker. We also need a smart contract code written in Solidity, and there are two ways which you can have that. You could write your own Solidity smart contract, or you could take one from the samples provided by TONLabs. And finally, we also need utilities that will link and deploy smart contracts to the blockchain. We could build from sources, we could download as binary, we could equally run in a Docker container. And in this workshop, we shall build everything from sources because it is recommended. Practical demonstration. So first, we shall set up our IDE, the integrated development environment. I recommend Visual Studio Code, but feel free to use any. I recommend Visual Studio Code because it has some plugins which we'll install. And so first, you can go to the marketplace.visualstudio.com and you download Visual Studio there. Then we shall press Ctrl X to open a search marketplace, and then we install all the Todev extensions. After that, we shall install the utilities that will link, that will help us link and deploy smart contracts to blockchain. The procedure is quite listed on the docs.ton.dev. So what we need is JIT, Cargo, Rust. So first of all, we install those three components. Then we shall clone Tone OS CLI, TVM linker, and the TONLabs Solidity compiler repositories, and then we'll build from sources. So let us start. So first, you can go to Start menu and type VS, or you can type it in full to launch Visual Studio Code. I already have Visual Studio Code, but if you do not have, feel free to install it first.
By the way, sorry, just a little interrupting. By the way, I start sharing the links to the libraries in Zoom chat, and also after workshop we will publish presentation, and all the links are there too. Sorry for interrupting.
It's okay. The next thing we are going to do after starting Visual Studio Code is to open this marketplace extension. You could press Ctrl+Shift+X, and it's going to open it. This is it right here, top left, and you search for Todev. Yeah, so yeah, you have there are 4 extensions. I'll advise you to install the 4 extensions. I've already installed it. That's why I show you disable here. But if it's the first time you're doing this, where you have disable is going to be installed. And just read through this documentation to see how to use it. It's quite explicit and it can be very helpful. You also advise you to install the other extensions because they help actually in they provide some code explanation to code snippets. Yeah. So after that, after you've installed all of these, your environment is set up for use. Okay, so that's just all you need for the Visual Studio Code. Great. Now we shall move on to the next step, which is actually installing the utilities to link and deploy contracts to the blockchain. So we are going to browse to this website, docs.tone.dev, and we follow the instructions from there as it's written there. So let's go to the website. Yeah, docs.tone.dev, yeah, and you go to write a smart contract. So yeah, how to write a smart contract. So as we see, this is the recommended setup. So the very first thing we shall install will be the Tone OS CLI. So we'll just right click and open a new tab. It's going to open the repo for it, and it contains documentation on how you can actually install it step by step on the different operating system, Windows, Mac, Linux. Great. So once you are here, the next thing you do is anywhere you go to your computer, you choose a location where it's easily accessible to you, and then you create a folder there. In my case, I've created a folder called Workshop on the desktop. So inside it, yeah, here it is inside here. So I'm going to create a new folder here, and I'm going to call it Tone OS CLI. Great. So I'm going to open this, and then I'll launch the command prompt from here. Okay, great. Now, while we're here, we are going to actually clone this repo to that folder which I've just created in here. So I'm going to clone this repository to that folder. But before we clone it, we are going to need JIT. We need JIT and we'll need Cargo and Rust So one clone we are going to build, and in order to clone, we need JIT to clone. So if you do not have JIT installed, of course, you can just search for JIT Windows on Google, and yeah, and there it is. You get download JIT. You come to this website, and it depends. So if you're using Mac, you can click on Mac. If you're using Windows, you click on Windows and you download it. So yeah, so that's it. And next thing you are going to need is Cargo and Rust. So install Cargo. Yeah, so yeah, this is it. On this website is there. You can just depending on the version of Windows which you have. If it's 32-bit, you can do this. If it is 64-bit, you can do this. You download Rust and install it. It comes with Cargo in it. So you just click here, you install it. It comes with Cargo. So if you're using a Linux distribution, you can also use this. You can type that command and on Homebrew, I believe, and it's going to install it directly. So assuming you've installed JIT and Cargo, then we can proceed in cloning the repo. So in order to clone the repo, we come back to here it is, the Tone OS CLI repo. To clone it, we shall come to where you have code. We click on it and we take a copy. So we've copied that link. We come to the command prompt and we type JIT clone. Then we paste the repo link. We hit enter. So it's cloning. While it's cloning, we can open and you see that the items are already appearing inside the folder. Great. It has finished cloning, and here we have the different items. So we shall come now to this to the repo, and we follow the steps on the next procedure on what to do next. Installation, great. So this is if you're building from if you're using Linux or Mac OS, you can do that. But since we are on Windows, yes, we shall follow the procedure here. So the first step was actually to clone the repo, which we've done. The next thing is to navigate into Tone OS CLI. So if we take deal here to view what we have, we notice that there is Tone OS CLI right there. So we take CD Tone OS CLI and hit enter, and we are already in the directory. So we take D to view what we have, and we prove that we are already inside. The next step is we take cargo update. So we shall type cargo update once we are inside that directory, and we hit enter. Sorry. Let's see. Great. And we hit enter. Great. It's going to take some time to download that, and then once it has finished. Once that's finished doing that, the next thing we're going to do is actually we'll take cargo build. So this will actually build we'll actually build it, and it's going to be stored inside a folder called target/release. So if you read there, the executable file of Tone OS CLI is going to store inside target/release. In some computers, it is stored inside a folder debug. Instead of release, you see a folder called debug. Okay. So it's going to take some time to build. And okay, great. Once you've done that, but I've already done that, so I'm just going to show you what we're expecting to see. So if you open Tone OS CLI, yes, you are going to have a folder called target. And in my case, instead of release, we had debug. And in debug, we have the executable for Tone OS CLI. So once you have this Tone OS CLI, it means that you have succeeded in installing and building a Tone OS CLI. Great. And to test it to show that it's actually working, you can launch command prompt from where it contains the executable, and you type TONOS CLI.exe or just TONOS CLI, and you run it. So give me a sec. Great. Once it produces this information, you're certain that your program is running perfectly well. Great. So it's still building. Okay, great. So we'll continue while it's building because it's actually going to take some time. But we already know what we're expecting to see, so that's great. We come back here. So we're done with Tone OS CLI. The next item we'll need to install is TVM linker. So we're going to open the repo. So this is TVM linker. We're going to just move one step backward. Okay, so that, yeah. Here we have the TVM linker. What is TVM linker? First of all, TVM means Tone Virtual Machine, right? So Tone Virtual Machine linker, it takes compiled code, the compiled binary code, and adds some links to it so that Tone virtual machine can actually understand what is actual, can actually understand the binary code. Okay, great. So in order to install this, we are going to follow the same procedure. First, we shall clone this repo. We come to our workshop folder. We create a new folder there. We call it TVM linker. And while inside this, we launch command prompt from there. And then we shall clone the repo. Yes, TVM linker, we come to code, we take copy, and then git clone. And then we'll paste the copy link there, hit enter. Okay, great. Okay, great. It's done already. So yeah, we have it there. We shall scroll down to follow the steps on how to build it. Okay, great. So just it's almost the same procedure. It's almost the same procedure. So first we have to browse inside TVM linker. Then we type cargo update, cargo build, cargo release. Well, it has all been placed in one single command. So we just copy it, and on the command prompt we paste it there. Okay. Let us see what we have there first. Okay, we have TVM linker. We have to browse first into it, TVM linker. Okay, I'll have TVM linker. Yes, great. Then I will paste, after that, we paste the code. This is it that we've pasted there. It browsed into it, and yeah, CD TVM linker. It has browsed into it, and directly it's already at work. So it's going to update cargo and then build it directly. Okay, great. So while it's updating, let me just show you what we are expecting. So great. So since I've installed already the folder TVM linker, you open TVM linker, and TVM linker, target, debug, and there we go, TVM linker.exe. Once you have TVM linker.exe, it means that your program is working. So we're going to test it. TVM linker.exe. We hit enter. Great. Once you see this information, once you see the information that is pulled out, you can be confident that your build was successful. Okay. So great. Now we have we've installed TVM linker, and we've installed Tone OS CLI tool. The last thing we need is to install the compiler. So it is actually called a TONLabs Solidity compiler, right? Because it compiles the smart contracts written in the Tone in Solidity, but in the Tone style. So we open the depot. I'm just going to close these directories since we no longer need them. So this is the Tone Solidity compiler repo. And well, it has documentations under as usual. It's a good job. So the next thing, what we're actually going to do now is we come to the workshop folder and create a new folder. We call it compiler. And inside compiler, we shall run the command prompt and clone the repo. So we have to copy it here. And we paste the link to the repo and hit enter. Okay, great. It's okay. Still in the process. Okay, we are done. So once we are done, yeah, we come back here and we follow the steps that is given to us. So the first step is actually to clone it, which we've done. The next is to browse into Tone Solidity compiler. So we can, so let's first of all see it. Yeah, so see the Tone Solidity compiler. We are inside, we have a look. Yeah, we have that. Great. You have to actually type cmake. Just copy the command and we'll paste it there. No, enter. Yeah, and it's actually going to download the components of it. Yeah, it will do that automatically. Then the next thing we're going to do is actually okay, it's going to unpack and do the installation. So, well, it's going to take some time for that. So let's explain the remaining commands. You see this command is actually to make a directory called build. So when this is done, we're going to paste the command there and hit enter. So it's going to make it's going to create a new directory called build, and then cd build means we should navigate to build directory. So change directory build. So we're going to enter into build and then we'll paste this command there, cmake .compiler. It's going to come back so a few steps behind and enter into the compiler folder and actually build it. So this is what we're expecting after all of that. So this is the compiler, Tone Solidity compiler. We come to build. Great, sulk. I think release. Yeah, and we have this sock.exe. Once you have sock.exe, you just follow that directory, compiler build sock release. Once you have sock.exe, you can be sure that your compiler has been installed correctly. So let's try it out. Let's see what's inside. Yeah, yes, we have sock. So we'll run sock. Great. Great. So you see, it tells you sock is a Solidity compiler and produces this information. Once you see it, you can be sure that your compiler has been installed successfully. Okay. So I believe that we can safely assume that if you follow that procedure, you can be able to install correctly all the utilities needed to write and build a smart contract. Okay, great. So let's move on to the next. Part 3. Right now, we have to actually write and deploy a DeBot. So first, let us see what a DeBot is. A DeBot is actually a secure chat-based interface that allows a user to interact directly with smart contracts already deployed on the blockchain. And users can actually query these smart contracts in the form of a dialogue. So this is a groundbreaking technology by Freetone because once you deploy your DeBot, it exists on the blockchain and you do not actually need to host it. All you need is a DeBot browser and the address of the DeBot to gain access to your DeBot. So it's quite interesting. So a few DeBot components that we have are DeBot interfaces. DeBot interfaces are smart contracts that provide the user interface that will link the user to the target smart contract. Now, the target smart contract is a smart contract for which the DeBot is built. Let's say you're building a DeBot to send money to multiple persons. The smart contract that actually sends money is the target smart contract. Then DeBot browsers are softwares that run on the browser, or that it could be independent software that have the ability to that you can actually put a DeBot address. You can put a DeBot address on it and actually search it. Great. Now, so that currently there are, I think there are about 3 DeBot browsers. We have ToneSurf. So we have ToneSurf. We have DeBrowser. There is another DeBot browser that came out during the DeBot browser contest. It's just that it's not yet popular. So as of now, right? Yeah. So we're just going to close all of these since we no longer need them. Great. So as at this moment, we're going to look at the practical implementation of DeBot. So we're actually going to see how to build, how to write it, we're going to get a smart contract of a DeBot. We're going to compile it. We're going to deploy it onto a blockchain. Okay, great. So let us hit the road straight away. Great. So first, let us, we're going to use one of the DeBot that is provided by TONLabs. So we can just take DeBot TONLabs. Let's just see DeBot TONLabs. Okay. Yeah. So browse to the DeBot repo. Okay, yeah. Here we have a list of DeBot use cases provided by TONLabs, which could actually serve as a starter to everybody. Since this is a beginner course, as usual, we're going to be doing the famous Hello World DeBot. Great. So to do this, we're going to clone this repo first of all. So we come here. Let's create a new folder. We'll call it DeBot. And inside this folder, we shall clone the repo. So jclone, we'll paste the repository link there. We hit enter. Okay, great. It's already cloned. So here we have it. Next thing is we are going now to open this cloned repository. Now let me before we do that, let me just explain briefly why we cloned everything. So when you open this folder, we have this is a smart contract, hello world.sol. That's just what I'm going to need. This deploy debot.sh is a bash program which will help someone using maybe Mac or Linux to easily deploy the DeBot, right? But we're not going to need it, so we're just going to delete that. So that we have just the smart contract there. Now, outside of this smart contract, you'll find also so many other smart contracts. These smart contracts outside are called interfaces. Right, yeah, so the interfaces which we are going to need for our Hello World DeBot is the debot.sol and the terminal.sol, right, yeah. So we're going now let's open this on the code editor and actually see what's inside, right? So if you're using Windows, yeah, you could just type code space dot, hit enter. It's going to open this. It's going to open that repository directly on the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so yeah, we have it here. So we have the repo here, right? So this is that folder DeBot, and this is everything which we've already cloned here, and this is the DeBot which we're going to be working on. So let's open it. Let's open hello DeBot. Excellent. Okay, great. So here is the this DeBot here is actually we can call it the target smart contract. This hello.dbot is the target smart contract. And let's just talk a little bit about the source code. So pragma here, there is actually the key term that shows headers, right? So tone solidity, it gives you the version of the tone solidity compiler which this smart contract is written for, and these are some other headers which we'll be needing. The next thing is we import the interfaces which this DeBot is going to call functions from. So we have the DeBot interface and the terminal interface. So let's look at the DeBot interface. Okay, yeah, there it is. So here's a DeBot interface. It's well commented. You can check it out. And we also have the terminal interface. So the terminal interface, you see here that it has some functions which are going to be calling. The print function actually prints a given string. We also have the input function. Input function receives input from a user. Okay, great. So we come back to the hello.dbot. Yeah. So this is it. Now that we have the smart contract for the DeBot all set up, the next thing will be compiling this smart contract and deploying it to the blockchain. So in order to compile this smart contract, first of all, remember we've already installed all the Todev extensions. So right now, what you're going to do is that two ways which you can do this, right? Now that this smart contract is open here, you could right-click on the smart contract and you take compile Solidity contract, or you can come to view command palette and then you type, you could just type Todev and it's going to show you all the commands that comes with Todev, right? You could deploy, it's possible to deploy smart contract from here, but I'm not going to do that here. So right now we want to compile it. So we're going to take compile Solidity smart contract. We click on it and we wait a sec. Okay. So in any time from now, the terminal is going to launch, showing the results, whether the contract has been compiled successfully or not. Okay. Great. While waiting for that, great. Okay. Let's try this again. We right click, we take compile Solidity smart contract. Okay, great. Yeah, here it is. Hold on. Okay, excellent. So the terminal launches with output. So at most of the times, so once you see this, it shows that it has been compiled successfully. Okay, the next step will be actually to get the smart contract. So let us look at something. Okay. While we're using the IDE, right, it actually does a lot of things for us. The job that was supposed to be done by the compiler is done here. The compiler produces a .code file. The .code file is like a binary file. It's collected by TVM linker. It's collected by TVM linker, and it produces a .tvc file. A .tvc file and an ABI.json file. So we have actually this ID actually helps us keep several processes which would have been doing, which would have followed from here. So would have actually So after this, we would have come to compile and follow this procedure, but this whole compilation procedure has been shortened for us by the IDE. Great. So now the goal now is actually to get the ABI.json and the TDC file that have been generated. So we see that the code was generated and saved to file. We're just going to copy this path. Yeah, maybe to there, yes. And then open Windows Explorer, paste it there and hit enter. Okay, yes, we can see hello DeBot.tvc, and we also have hello DeBot.abc, ABI.json, so we can, well, let's just cut it. And then we can come to the folder workshop on desktop, DeBot, hello world, and we paste it there. The reason why we are pasting these two files here is so that we master the path easily. We can have access to the path easily. Sometimes, right? Sometimes it is generated and saved directly into the hello world directory, but sometimes it goes somewhere else. So you just have to, if it goes somewhere else, you know, you go there and you get it. So we've gotten the two important files which we need. Great. Now, just so you note something, when TVM linker is about to produce a TDC file, it produces a temporal address. So this is the temporal address, and there's some other information here. So, well, you can always check it out and see it. Now that we've succeeded in compiling the file, and we've produced two files, ABI.json. Now the ABI file contains, it actually contains information about the smart contract. Using this ABI, we can actually link maybe a front end to the back to the smart contract using the information provided in this ABI. So it's actually a very important file. And also have the hello DeBot.tvc. This is the file that contains already the linked, the binary code is already there, and it has already been linked with, it has already been, linkers has already been added to it by TVM linker. Now, how do we deploy this smart contract? That's the next step. So compilation is done. We come now to the next step, which is to deploy it. So in order to deploy, the first thing we have to do is we have to connect to a blockchain, right? Since we are doing testing, we're going to connect to the test net, which is net.ton.dev. And not to do that, we first we have to browse to where we have Tone OS CLI tool. Well, remember, we just installed it, so we have to browse to where we have Tone OS CLI tool, and then we paste this command there. So this export means we should browse to where we have it, right? So let us do that. Okay, it is installed here. Tone OS CLI, target, debug, and here we have it, Tone OS CLI tool. So from here we can launch the command prompt. Okay, great. Then after that, we put that command there, Tone OS CLI config URL net.ton.dev. So this command actually connects us to the development network. So you see, yeah, succeeded. And the URL is to net.ton.dev. So at this moment in time, we can safely, we can be confident that we are connected to the development network. The second step is actually to generate address, the raw address, keys, and seed phrase of the contract which we have. So to do that, this is the command for it. So let's see how to actually use this command, right? So we are going to work on it here. We're going to work on it on this. So let's paste it here. So I've done CLI gen address, like generate address. Then we have, well, wallet address.tvc. This wallet address is simply the path to where you have the activity file, right? So we're going to go, we're going to paste the path of activity file here. And to get that easily, we can come to our IDE. Here we have our the TVC file. Right click on it, I'll take copy path, and we can paste it there. So we'll just replace that here. Great. Next is we have to actually replace these two with the path wallet.abi.json. We have to replace it with our own hello world, hello debot.abi.json, right? Yeah, so we have it here. Yes, here it is. Hello debot.abi.json. We'll right click and I'll take copy path and we paste it there. Great. The next thing is now we have this is like generate key, gen key. So generate key. Well, this will be the name of the file. So we have to, we have to change the path of this and we'll give it a reasonable name, right? So let's just say, let's come a little bit downward and paste this path. Okay, you look at this path, we'll take away that and we copy it. We'll replace this wallet and just paste there so that you see that it's the same path and it's going to have hello debot.keys.json, right? So the goal is that all should fall inside this same directory so that we master where all everything is going to be. So the command is ready. We can copy the command. We come here and we paste it. Great, and then hit enter. Okay, awesome. It succeeded. So the seed phrase has been generated. Here we have the seed phrase. Here we have the raw address. This raw address is actually address of the compiled smart contract. So and there are some other information as usual. So it succeeded. So this information is very important. You know, seed phrases, yeah, it cannot be overemphasized because the seed phrase is actually the key to this smart contract. Great. So we have started the first part of deploying it. The next is actually we have to actually now let's check the smart contract. We have started deploying, but we have not deployed it. It's not deployed because it's not funded. It has to be funded and deployed to the blockchain, right? So it exists on blockchain, but it has not yet been deployed. Now let's just copy this and check on the blockchain before we proceed to see what we have. So this is actually to check if we can find it on the development blockchain, and also to see the amount of money that is present inside of that smart contract, the amount of cryptocurrency that is present inside of this smart contract. So so we have the address here. It means that we can come here, we get the address and we replace it right here. And then we copy that, yeah, yes, copy that and we paste it there. We hit enter. Okay, great. So this is the address which we want to see its account information. It has connected to net.tone.dev, and of course, it succeeded in connecting, but it did not find the address. The reason is because this address has no cryptocurrency. It has no, it has not been funded. It has no funds. Yeah. So in order to see it, in order for it to be visible on the blockchain, we have to put in some money into it. And to do that, we use this command, Tone OS. We use this command to send it. But so I'm just going to talk a little bit about this command. So this could work perfectly on Mac OS like this, but when it comes to Windows, right? When it comes to Windows, so let's just come to decentralized multi-signature and scroll down a little bit. Okay, we see that when it's on Windows, right? When it's on Windows, and the command is in what we call a nested code. what we do is that we change the outer, this outer one was a single quote, we change it to double quote, and inside the braces, before each double quote, we put this the backslash symbol. So before this, put a backslash symbol. Before this double quote, put a backslash symbol. Before this, we put a backslash symbol. Before that, just like that, and it's gonna be okay. So that's it. But I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to use this procedure because it's long. So I'm just going to use a simple procedure by logging to TONServe and fund the account directly from there. So I have some test cryptocurrency. The test cryptocurrency which is being used in Freetone is called Ruby. So Ruby is a cryptocurrency which developers use to test smart contracts. So okay, I'm going to get the address of our smart contract right here, raw address, I'll copy it, and I come to serve, I take send, I paste the address there. Okay, I'll just send one tone. I'll send one Ruby, sorry, and I'll call it, what, I just put a message, workshop. Remember, transaction fees are extremely cheap. So to deploy a smart contract is going to cost 0.01 tone just for the transaction fees, means that we can deploy about, almost 20 of them. So great, I'll confirm the transaction and I will send. I'll sign it. Okay, great, it has been sent. Now we come back here, we test the account again. Okay, it has not been found. It is taking some time to validate the transaction. So if we wait for a few seconds, right, and then we test again. Excellent. We send one tone, right? This is the balance, and now it can be found. We can actually see it on the blockchain. Okay, so if you look at this, it has not been deployed yet. That's why you have back of cell here, it's null. Once we deploy this, we're going to test it again, and you're going to see that this null is going to change, and we're going to have some information there. Now, you might be wondering that we send just one tone, but why do we have so much? It's because what this figure here appears, it shows tone in its least amount of form, right? So the least amount of form is in nano. So you have like 93330 zeros, right? Yeah, so it's just one tone, but multiply raised to the power times 10 to the 9. Okay, great. So our smart contract has been funded. Our smart contract has been funded. The next thing that we're going to do at this moment in time is to deploy it. So yes, we finished with the first step, second step. Now we are on the fifth step to deploy the smart contract to the DevNet. To do the deployment, we're going to get this command. Let's work on it on the here. So we have Tone OS CLI deploy. Yes, great. And we have what? ABI, and we have wallet.abi.json. So we're going to replace this with the JSON command. So we come to our ID. Or right click on the abi.json and we take copy path. We replace it there. And then here we have sign wallet.keys.json. So yes, it worked. So here we have the keys. We right click on it and we take copy path. Right click and we take copy path. Yes, we have wallet.abi.json. Yes, so we paste it there. And then we have to paste the TC file, the link to TC file there. So we'll get a TC file. So right click on it, I'll take copy path and paste it there. And then the last thing, we have this constructor arguments. So we're just going to take it out and the command is ready. So we can copy it and paste on our command prompt. So we can paste it right here. And we hit enter. Great, it's working. So it's deploying. So it's going to take some time. Let's just wait a little bit for it to deploy to the blockchain. Okay. Yep. Okay. Oh, excellent. Succeeded. So it has been deployed to the blockchain and it has been deployed to this address. If you notice, the address is the same as the raw address, so it has been deployed, but now we're confident that it is on blockchain. Now let us check Tone OS CLI account again, and we see, now look at back of sales. It was null up there when it was not deployed. After deployment, see that back of sales now has information. And then access type has changed to active. And if you look at the amount, it has reduced a little bit. Telling is a clear proof that some rubies was collected as transaction fees. Great. So our DeBot has been deployed to this address. Now, the next thing we're going to do is actually, now that our DeBot has been compiled and deployed, how do we use this DeBot? How do we have access to it, right? To have access to it, we use what we call a DeBot browser. So let's start with the web DeBot browser. This DeBot browser came about very recently in the DeBot browser contest. Yes, so it was produced there. So in order to use this, let's come to this question mark. You see here that you have mainnet, and we have testnet. We have also the local node. So by default, it's on mainnet from what we see here. So it's on mainnet currently. But if we want to get to testnet, we have to type net.tone.dev /. Okay, so let's type that. So type net.tone.dev / enter. Great. And now we are in the devnet. Okay. So it's showing error because there is no address. So if we come here and we copy the address of the DeBot browser and we paste it in here and we hit enter. Great, it finds it, right? And we launch. So our DeBot has been deployed already. Okay, now yeah, you find this how it's going and it's asking for a value. That's because it's also in the smart code. We could check it out right here in this hello world DeBot. Yeah, so you see we have terminal.print hello world, that's what it does print, and then we have here terminal.input. How is it going, right? So that terminal.input is calling the input function from the terminal interface that receives strings from the user. That's why on the DeBot here we are having how is it going there. Excellent. So this is one DeBot browser. We also have another DeBot browser on TONServe, right? We could just come here and browse DeBot and enter the DeBot address there. We find it, right? We click on it, and there it launches it directly. We take I understand. Hello world. There we go, right? Great. So now that's another DeBot browser. Another way in which we could use DeBot, right? Another way which you can launch DeBot is actually, we can come to, it's actually documented here, just below this DeBot inter, here we have DeBot just below. We scroll down a little bit, how to deploy here, okay, how to run DeBot on Surf. And then we have definite, there is this link here, we can copy the link and we come to Notepad. Now let's discuss a little bit about it. We have uri.tone.self debot address. So you see here that what we just have to place address at this point, the address of the debot. So our debot was deployed here. We copy the address and we replace it there. And we have the link for TONSurf. So we can just copy that. We can copy the link and we paste it right there on the browser. Hit enter. It's going to launch TONSurf directly, and so we're signing. We can sign into TONSurf. So you see, it launches TONSurf directly and opens and searches for the DeBot browsers directly, and there we go. Hello world. Okay, great. So we've compiled the smart contract and we've deployed it to the development blockchain. Thank you. I hope you've learned something new. Alex?
Yes. By the way, nothing to say. I will comment later. We have two questions from Josiki. What is pragma, and what is the start function, the main function? I think that's good. Yes, two questions from Zoom we have now.
Okay, great. So pragma is a key term that is a keyword in Solidity that is using defining headers. So a header is actually the key files that are needed for your Solidity, for your smart contract to run fully well. So pragma is a keyword that is used in defining those key terms. So if we could check it out, so I will talk. So if you see pragma, and we have, it defines you can write now, immediately after pragma, you can write the version for which the Solidity contract can be, the version of the compiler for which the Solidity smart contract can run on it. We also have pragma, and we have ABI header expire. These are actually, I can call it API. They are API made by TONLabs that provide some ready to do functions already for us in the DeBot, so we don't have to code much. We could actually check out those the API. Let's just say TONLabs API here. Okay. Excuse me, just go back. It's right down there. TONLabs API program. Oh, there we go. So, this API, great. TONLabs API. Yeah. Okay. This is not it. This is not it. But there is a repo. There's a repo provided by TONLabs that contains the API, and it contains a list of commands, so that you could actually check it out, and you see it. You see the different uses of those pragma files that you build from above, right? So, well, you can just check it out. You'll find it. I'm confident you find it. I saw it recently. And okay, that's the first question about API. So let me just check out the chat. Alex, could you just remind me of the second question?
Yes, and the second, so sorry, I think you just some, okay, yes, the second question was sorry, maybe is the start function the main function. Is the start function is the main function.
Okay. Okay. I assume you're talking about this start function. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you're coming from the C background because the C background is our main function. But in Solidity, there is no main function because this could be any function. It's just that we've named the function start. You could give any name of your choice and it will still work well. It's just you just have to know where to call the function in your smart contract. Okay, great. Is there any other question?
No, we don't have any questions. So what I want to say, it's very I like it very much, because as you can see, everybody, and I hope everybody will see it's in the record, you can just start writing DeBot in 1 hour, because as you can in 1 hour, because we have done this all in 1 hour. So what can I say as an announcement? We don't we won't stop on this. We will try to prepare more courses based how to create different functions and different interfaces in DeBot. And so again, thank you very much, Sweets. It was wonderful, because yes, it's like you just need to watch this video, waste just 1 hour, and you can start to developing something for free tone and so on. That's why thank you very much. It's like I dream about it. So thank you everybody who comes. We will try to attract more audience, and by the way, we will try to push this video, this workshop in every channel. By the way, not only in free tone channels and so on. I will personally try to push it in other websites, developer websites and so on. And maybe we will look where will it go. Maybe we will run something like, I know, a little DeBot hackathon where everybody can participate, write some simple DeBots, and win some prizes. I really start thinking about this from day to day, and I think it will be very soon. Soon is a bad word, and we don't. It will be very soon. Yes, it will be very soon. So thank you very much, and thank you very much, Sweet. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. So goodbye. All grades to Sweet. Thank you, Josie. All grades to Sweet, because yes, I like it very much, because I see, as a developer, I see a lot of different walkthroughs, a lot of manuals about how to develop in Python, for example, or something like this. And now I see that we have something like this for free tone, not just reading documentation and so on. Just click, see the video, and start. Thank you very much, and goodbye to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.